Hey everyone, Richard Metalfan here. For you guys, a little video, and I'm going to do something a little bit different this time. And, um, Now, a lot of people I've seen on YouTube are doing sort of like their top whatever end of the year lists of albums or shows, whatever. I'm going to be doing that, but I'm going to do something I've never really done before, and I'm going to be doing my top 10 shows I've been to this year, which is something I've never done before. I mean, like I said, but I think it was about like a 2 year break from 2013, 2014 where I didn't go to any shows, but it was back in April. And I'm gonna do like top 10 shows. And funny enough, I've only been to 10 shows this year. Um, I'm sort of like doing them sort of like from the April to probably back a few weeks ago near the end of November. So yep, without further ado, let's get into this. Now at number 10, we have the Decade of Despair tour featuring Carnifex, Within the Ruins, Lorna Shore, The Last Seconds of Life, A Legacy and Sustenance. Now, originally Black Tongue was on the bill, but they had to drop off the tour because they had like visa issues or something. Gee, thanks Obama. But anyway, um, yeah, but then they got like my good. There was only gonna be one local band, which are good friends of mine, Sustenance. But yeah, but also A Legacy Written got added on, which made it pretty good. So they started to open up the show. They were pretty good. I mean, for some reasons, like first time I saw Sustenance from, if you see my videos from when they played Swayze Stories on the floor, and the first time I actually seen them on a stage, and they're actually more louder at the Masquerade than they are at Swayze's. Maybe it's sort of a sound thing. I don't really know. It was pretty cool. I sort of walked around. Actually, you saw the last 10 seconds of life were okay, all right, I suppose. Wasn't really too big a fan of them. I only known them for them covering Break Stuff by Limp Bizkit, which surprisingly they make that song actually listenable, which is pretty interesting. Thought Lorna Shore is pretty good. I mean, I haven't really listened to that Lorna Shore beforehand, but maybe I should at some point. I'm not really sure. Then we have Within the Ruins, who I am familiar with. I thought their stuff was pretty good. And then Carnifex basically just annihilated the venue. They were just basically, in my opinion, now one of my favorite deathcore band ever, and they fucking killed it. And of course, I met the guys, and they were like really nice guys. And it was pretty much really cool to see them and to meet them. I mean, I sort of talked to their drummer on Facebook, who I'm friends with, and it was great meeting him and the whole band. They were pretty cool. So yeah, at number 9, we have the Prague Power USA. Now, I've heard of Prague Power. This is my first time going to Prague Power. I mean, I've never really been before. I mean, I've heard of the venue, the festival before. And I really went with my dad because he really wanted to see Saxon, who were like the headlining, I believe. Then I sort of checked them out. I wanted to see them. I was like, you know what, I'll go. There were some bands I never heard of. There was a band called Angra, who I believe are from South Africa, not South Africa, South America. Uh, South America, bleh, can't speak today. And they're pretty interesting. Some interesting, just progressive power metal bands. And they have Dragonland, some power metal from Sweden, and then they were pretty good, I have to say. And then we have Armored Saint, who I've heard of before, but I never really listened to them. I mean, basically know them from their vocalist John Bush, who was also in Anthrax at some point, and they were pretty good. And I liked how one of their songs, like John Bush actually went into the crowd and sort of walked around while singing. I thought it was pretty cool. And then Saxon were pretty good. I actually enjoyed them. I thought it was pretty good. Yep. And then we get that was a good show. Now we have number 8. We have the Fit for an Autopsy and Aborted show. And I went with my friend Ryan, which I went to with most of these shows I went to with, and I went and saw Aborted there. I actually met the dudes, and they signed my Necrotic Manifesto CD, and they were pretty cool dudes. Their vocalist Sven is funny as hell, and then we get to like there are the two local bands opening up the show, similar to the Carnifex show. The first band opening up is a band which I never heard of called Drenched in Sin, who are pretty good. They actually did some covers. They actually covered Raining Blood by Slayer, and I think one Pantera song. I think it might have been Walk. I can't remember. Yeah, and then Legacy and Written played that show, which was pretty awesome. And then I saw some more of the bands. First time I saw Dark Sermon, who I actually recently got into. They're pretty good. Some blackened death metal, deathcore, whatever you want to call them. I saw Arcspire, which are pretty good. Trying to remember, I can't really remember who else played. The top of my head. And then Aborted came on, and they were fucking destroy the place. I mean, then I didn't get to see Fit for an Autopsy, sadly, but I actually met Tim and Shane. They were pretty cool dudes. Yeah, I had to leave early. Well, me and Ryan had to leave because we had to get up the next morning. Well, Ryan had to start a job that he had at the time. There was pretty good. But sucks I didn't get to see Fit for an Autopsy. I would have seen him if I wanted to, but yeah, they were cool dudes. But anyway, moving on to show number seven, number no, which would be the Trivium and the Hard Drive tour featuring Trivium and Tremonti. Now, like I said, when it was at the Masquerade, like most of these shows I went to. Yeah, there was some opening band called Wilson, which I never heard of, and I didn't even know the name of it until after they were done performing, and I got to see, and I thought they were interesting. And then we have Tremonti, which all of you know that is Mark Tremonti from Creed's band, which actually it sounds way better than Creed since I fucking hate Creed. Yeah, and then like before the show, actually, I forgot to mention. Actually, before while I was walking in, I actually saw their now former drummer Matt Madeira walk by, and actually got a cool picture with him before the show. But then, which I thought was pretty interesting. But back to the show. Then we have a Trivium. Now they played some of the new stuff from Silence of the Snow. They had played like a few of the songs. They played the title track, "Blinding the Blind" and "Until the World Goes Cold." Played a lot of older stuff. They played Wish they would have played more Ascendancy stuff since this year was the 10th anniversary. I think they played Pull Harder, Gunshot, uh, Dying in Your Arms. I can't really remember. They actually played two Crusade songs. Surprisingly, they played Becoming the Dragon and Anthem. It was pretty cool, and I actually got a thing where I actually got to meet them. But after their show, I had to wait only like 10 minutes or so. They signed my albums, got pictures of them. They were pretty cool dudes. That was a pretty good show. Then right. Then we get to number six. We have the 20th anniversary tour with Korn, Suicide Silence, and Islander. Now I went with Ryan and and a friend of ours, Wayne. We went there. We had to. It was at the Tabernacle. It was the first time I actually been there since Megadeth in 2012. So it's been a long time since I've been back there. It was pretty. Then we have Islander, which I skipped, considering I just don't like them. I've heard like one song and I thought they were shit. I actually just wandered around the venue and then I was waiting for Suicide Silence to come on. It was actually the first time I actually seen Suicide Silence with Eddie, and that was one of the reasons why I wanted to see them. And yeah, I think they opened up with "You Only Live Once." They played some stuff from try to remember their set list. They played few songs from You Can't Stop Me. I think the title track, Inherit the Crown. I think they played like Blood. I think they closed with a No Pity for a Coward. And after their set, I actually ran back to the merch and actually got to meet Eddie Hermida. He's a really nice guy. He was pretty cool. And then we get to Korn. Now the reason now for me, I'm not really the hugest Korn fan. I really used to listen to them a long time ago, but now not so much. I mainly went because they were playing their whole first album live, which is the reason why I wanted to go. And I thought, I'll go. And so I went. Korn basically tore the place up. They were pretty sweet. Like they played the whole first album. Like especially I would never thought they would ever play the song "Daddy," which was a personal song for Jonathan Davis, but I never thought they would actually play it, which I thought was pretty. So I gotta give a major props to him for playing that song. And then I think their encore they did like a few more songs. I think they did "Falling Away from Me," trying to remember. We're Here to Stay, Coming Undone. Forgot there was one song from Paradigm Shift. I can't remember, and I think they closed with a "Freak on a Leash," which I thought was a pretty good way to end it. Then we get to number 5, which is the Summer's Last Stand tour featuring Slipknot, Lamb of God, Bullet for My Valentine, and Motionless in White. Now this was at Lakewood Amphitheater. It was my first time there since when I saw Iron Maiden in 2012. So yep, I was looking forward to this show. Yep, mainly because I wanted to go because I've never seen Lamb of God and I haven't seen Bullet since I was Manfest 2009 when I was like 15 or so. And then we have Motionless in White, which I mean a lot of people probably don't know is that I can't stand them most at all, but and and I hate to admit they actually put on a really damn good live show. I mean, I can't don't like them, but damn, they're awesome live. I hate to admit it. But yeah, I sort of walked around there. I usually would walk around the venue or so. I actually met some friends of mine that I met on online, but in person there, that show. Like I met my friend Katie there. It was pretty awesome. And then we get to Bullet for My Valentine. It was my first time seeing them since 2009. I thought it was pretty good. I think they played like a few seven songs. They played some new songs from Venom. I think they played No Way Out. I think one other song I can't remember. At least they didn't play any shitty Temper songs, which is awesome. So yep. And then we get to Lamb of God. My first time ever seeing them. I mean, I've been a fan of these guys since I was like 15, and it was pretty awesome. They I think they opened up with Walk with Me in Hell. Played a lot of there's some stuff from the new album. I think they played a 5-1-2 overture. I think I can't really remember their set list. It was pretty crazy. And then we get to Slipknot. I mean, they basically fucking tore the place up. I mean, I saw them like they opened up with XYX, their little intro to their new album, Point by the Great Chapter. They play a lot of new stuff. That Sarcastrophe, Custer, Kill Pop. I wish they would have played Negative One. I think they play some stuff from Iowa. I think they played People Equal Shit, Disaster Piece, Heretic Anthem. I think they actually closed the surfacing. It was pretty good. And right during a Slipknot set, I thought it was. I think I said did this in my concert. This my concert view. I actually met Brent Hines from Mastodon was at the show, which I thought was pretty cool. We actually took a weird photo. He was looking at me really funny. I just thought it was hilarious. But yeah, that was a really good show. Number 4, we have the Dark Roots of Thrash 2 tour featuring Exodus, no wait, Testament, Exodus, and Shattered Sun. It was my first time ever going to Masquerade. It was my first concert in like about almost 3 years or 2.5, I should say. It was like a birthday present from my dad. I went with my dad to the Masquerade. Actually, I met my YouTube friend James, who's known on here as Zyborgian. It was awesome to finally meet him. We actually went there, and I actually met some friends of his, and I got to see Shattered Sun, which I've never really checked out, and they were pretty good. I gotta admit, it was my first time hearing them, and they put on a really good show. And then after that, I walked back outside, and actually I met two members of Exodus there. I met got their bassist Jack Gibson, and I met Zetro himself. They were pretty chill dudes. And then I got to see Exodus. They played some stuff from the new album. I think they played Salt the Wound. I think they played the opening song, which I can't remember. They played a lot of some older stuff. They also played Toxic Waltz, which is my favorite Exodus song. And yeah, it was pretty good. Yeah, and after that, I actually walked outside again, and I actually got a photo with Eric Peterson from Testament. It was pretty awesome. And then Testament played they played all the songs from their first two albums. Legacy and New Order. They didn't play them like one album and then another album. They just mix match it, and I think they played one song from Practice What You Preach, was the title track. And that was a pretty good song. And then number 3, we have the North American Extinction Tour featuring Cattle Decapitation, Dark Sermon, King Parrot. Now, originally, Black Crown Initiate was supposed to be on the tour, but they dropped off for some unknown reason. But yeah, this show was also the last show of the tour. Actually, I thought it was cool that they ended it in Atlanta. It was in the Purgatory area, and they had a local band opening up called Apothecary, which I thought were pretty interesting. They had like keyboard stuff, kind of like symphonic metal stuff. I don't really know what to call them. That was pretty interesting. Then we have Dark Sermon, which is my second time seeing them since the aborted show I mentioned a while ago. It was pretty good, and actually I think it was after that Dark Sermon, I was waiting for King Parrot to come on, and I actually got to meet the man himself, Travis Ryan. I thought that was fucking awesome. He was a really cool dude. And I actually saw some of the dudes from Psychostick who were actually playing over there as well. Their guitar player and the drummer, I think. I thought it was pretty cool. I hate that they had to play the same day as Cattle Decap, but that was all back to that Cattle Decapitation. We have a King Parrot, was my first time ever hearing them. They're a band from Australia. They're pretty crazy. They basically are very entertaining live. Like they're basically insane. And then we get to Cattle Decapitation. Holy shit! I basic this I this that show basically fucking destroyed me. They played some stuff from the new album, Prophets of Loss, some stuff. I can't remember their set list. It was crazy. They obviously played my favorite song, Forced Gender Reassignment. Pretty good. And that's I had a little dangerous moment there. Like I think it was like near the last couple songs or so. I got picked up by some dude doing some. I was like kind of like crowd surfing, and somebody didn't catch me. I sort of fell, hit my head on the fucking floor like really hard. Like I had like a bruise, like a not like a big bump on my head. I was really lucky I managed to survive that. I mean, I don't know. I could have easily died or been seriously hurt. I don't really know, but that show was pretty good, except for that crazy fucked up thing right at that near the end. But it was pretty good. And number two, we have the last show I went to this year, which was Black Metal Warfare, featuring Mayhem, Watain, and Rotting Christ. Now, I went with my friend Conrad. We like it was like I sort of told him about that show. It was fucking good. He never really been to a black metal show before, and it was actually my first black metal show. It was pretty awesome. There was actually like I said, I got there. There actually saw us. Finally met another YouTube friend who has been friends with on Facebook for 2 years. My friend Melody, who's known on YouTube as Lady of the Nordic, who she doesn't really do YouTube anymore, which is a shame. But anyway, it was great meeting her. I met her boyfriend Reese, which is pretty awesome. Then there was an opening band for the Black Metal Warfare show called Tomb. They were like a loud industrial metal band, which honestly they didn't really impress me that much. I thought it was kind of it just was kind of loud and just they were just bad, honestly. And then we get to Rotting Christ, which they're fucking sick as hell. I mean, they're from Greece, and I really thought they were pretty good. I definitely have listened to more of their stuff at some point. I actually got to meet their frontman, Sakis Totis, and he was a pretty cool dude. I got a photo with him. Then we have Watain, who are fucking sick. I've heard of Watain before, but damn, I think they're really sick, amazing live. They put on a really good show, and I liked how they spit blood. I mean, I wasn't near the front, but they sort of stand in the back. I thought that was a really good. They put on a good show. And then we have Mayhem, so the OGs of black metal. I can't believe I said that. And they basically brought the Mayhem. They didn't play any of their newer stuff. They played a lot of their older stuff, especially stuff from like De Mysteriis Dom Satanas and the Death Crush EP, some old shit, which I thought was pretty good. But that was a good show. And then we have number one, which I've mentioned this before. Yep, it's the King Diamond and Exodus show that I went to back in November 16th at the Tabernacle. This show was a show out. This was a show I was looking forward to all year. Basically, when it was first announced, I was really glad I got to see this. I managed to, but I mean, I kind of showed up a little bit late. I mean, there was a lot of traffic and shit. But went with my friend Ryan. I missed most like half of Exodus, I think, which is a shame. But I think they played like from what I didn't see, like I looked up on their set list on a Setlist FM. I think they opened up with the song Exodus. Played a lot of their older stuff, like stuff from Bottom by Blood, and then they played the Toxic Waltz, which I got on video. And like I mentioned in my review, I looked over and who I saw standing next to me while I was filming Toxic Waltz. I saw Bron Daler from Mastodon. He was a pretty cool dude. Met him and that. They obviously Exodus closed with a Strike of the Beast, which I thought was pretty awesome. Yeah, and I was walking around, and then I was really glad to see King Diamond. And finally, he played a lot of classic stuff, and I really stoked was the reason I really went, because he had played the whole Abigail album, and that was basically the album that got me into him, and I basically fell in love with the King Diamond. I think King Diamond's basically puts on a really good show. It was really great to see him finally. Yeah, but that was pretty much my favorite show I went to all year. But yeah. That's basically my top 10 concerts I went to this year. It was a really great show. I'm looking forward to going to more next year. Hopefully be more than 10. Hopefully I might be blowing a lot of money, but fuck it. It's well worth it. Am I right? But yeah, What are you guys? A question I want to ask you guys: what are your favorite concerts that you've been to this year? So yeah, that's my little video for you guys. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you all next video. Keep it metal.